Let's be honest here. Have you ever expected God to answer you in a specific way? Like in a certain time, a certain place, or a specific way you're normally used to? What if I told you you might be missing God because you have limited the way He can move? Hi there, welcome back. And if you are new to my channel, welcome to Vida Lighthouse. This is a safe space where we get to talk about faith, self development, and finding your way when life feels uncertain. Okay, so let's get into it. This week during Bible study lesson, there was one lady who spoke about us boxing God. A lot of us believe in God, but we unknowingly put Him in a box. And you may be asking yourself, what does that mean? Putting God in a box. But actually, putting God in a box meaning that you were limiting Him to your understanding. For example, when you say, God only does things this way, God only moves like this, God only speaks to me at this time. Because there are some people that believe that God only answers their prayers at 12 a.m., or God only speaks to them on Sundays, or God only speaks to them when they're praying or when they're at church. But the truth is, God can speak to you anytime, right? There's some people that, yes, you've noticed that there's God has like a consistent habit, right, of revealing stuff to you through prayers or through maybe your prophet or through whoever. But then it's always good to never box him into saying that that's the only way he is able to speak to you. I say that because he can speak to you through you reading your word, through something you're watching, through people around you, or even through quiet times. So always put that in your mind. God is not limited to a time, a place, or a specific method. Interestingly enough, this is actually not something new because in the book of Acts, there was a man called Stephen. So this man stood before religious people and challenged them because they had put God in a box, right? They believed that God was only in the temple, that he only worked through their traditions and only spoke to them in ways they were used to. But Stephen had to remind them that God actually spoke to Abraham before there was a temple. God was even with Joseph in Egypt and met Moses in the wilderness. Hi there, sorry for interrupting your video. I know that you are enjoying the topic, but I just want to ask you a question. Have you heard of a journal called I'm Worthy of My Dreams by Vidal Footing? So this journal is not an ordinary journal. It is actually a 6-month structured journal for teens and above, basically helping them with their mental well-being. For those that are struggling with negative mindset, low self-esteem, struggling to keep track of their goals, people that have a lot going on in their minds and they just want a place in which they can write it down or jot it down, right? Or people that are just on the journey of self-development. This journal basically reminds you to be grateful, reminds you to affirm yourself every day, and just keep track of your goals. And if you are looking for a short, inspiring children's storybook that introduces them to affirmations and teaches them about their worth, basically kids from 6 to 12, this is definitely a great book. Martha's Little Secret. Please don't mind the rainbow on top. It does not represent the LGBTQ team. Yes, I hope I said that right. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt your video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let's continue watching the video. In other words, God is not confined. And this is where they got it all wrong. Because now, when God started moving a different way, they completely missed him. And this is not because God was not speaking, but it's because it didn't look familiar. And that's the same thing that tends to happen with us these days. Because we're so used to God speaking to us through our dreams, through our parents, through our pastors, that the day that God decides to answer us a different way, we think, oh my goodness, God is not, because we are not paying attention to that. We are so focused on, okay, he's going to answer me this way. And if it doesn't, it means he's not speaking. Whereas he has spoken to you so many times over and over. He's even used different strategies, just not what you were so used to. So I'm just here to remind you that don't be so used to how God used to move to the point you miss how he is moving right now. God is always speaking. The real question is, are you listening, or you're waiting for him to speak your way?